Hi everyone, today I'm going to be presenting you with the reason that I kind of started making these videos and the whole idea around building Tatooine. It's Jabba's palace. This was the first thing that I actually built on the map. I was pretty sick at the time, so I needed something to fill in the time with whilst I wasn't looking after my 2 children. And I decided that I would recreate Jabba's palace to a different standard. Obviously, it's a bit smaller and out of scale compared to other things, and that's fine. The world isn't canonically correct, it's just how I want it to be, which is why obviously the sizes aren't necessarily perfect and it's missing a couple things like an extra tower and it doesn't necessarily match the scenery, but I tried my best. You'll see that there's a whole bunch of different chambers. There's actually Slave 1, I don't know what it's called now, and there's a couple internal areas that I'm actually really happy with, like the Rancor Pit. I thought was pretty cool, and I really enjoyed making this part of the build, and that's what inspired me to do the whole of Tatooine. Like this entrance point right here where you see R2 and C-3PO. Yes, I would have loved to have them as skins, but I'm just making it work with what I got, as well as the Gamorrean guards. They're also pretty good. I actually kind of sometimes think they are mobs, which is kind of cool, kind of not cool, because it makes me a bit worried that something's going to blow up or break. But we'll make our way into the chamber room now where Jabba usually sits. The throne isn't Jabba sized, it's more Boba sized, because that's kind of where we are at the timeline in my mind. Obviously there's a couple other locations that differ from that, and you'll see that the trapdoors also obviously work, and you can fall down into the Rancor Pit just like in the movies. It's no problem whatsoever. You just go straight down and there's a Rancor. A couple of the builds in this are done from tutorials that I don't have the link from, but if you know who made it, just remind me and I'll be happy to link it in the description. I've got like a playlist of useful tutorials that I have just sitting there private, but I can make them public if anybody's interested in building some of the things that I use for my worlds. There's like a couple of side rooms like this. This is like a jail slash weapon breaking down room, droid breaking down room. There's a lunch hall that's in the actual tower. Then there's the upstairs section as well that's shown a bit later. I think the kitchen actually has a back entrance that runs out towards Slave 1. So if you go down this little trapdoor here, you'll find your way down into like a mini sewer system. It's kind of hard to do a sewer system on Tatooine because it is so dry and devoid of water. Just made it like a little trade secret route kind of section, and it kind of opens up to the back of the build so you don't see it from the front. Then upstairs there's the Bacta tank, which I thought was a massive focal point. I didn't want to make it small like in the Book of Boba Fett. I decided to make it larger and just add a couple of different things that would be in a palace, I guess, and not necessarily a palace that Jabba would be in charge of, but more a palace that Boba would be in charge of. And then just around Slave 1 I've added like a different couple of barrels, some oars, and I think like a rail track just to make it feel like there's goods being transported on and off this platform. Maybe Boba's going on transport trips, whatever it needs to be. And then yeah, this is just a big overview shot of the world. You can kind of see other things that I'm building.